Righty, so I edged all those bits, cleaned all those bits up. I'm getting frickin' annoyed with this frickin'... I gave him a spray gun, frickin' good rinse out and clean out. Well, a good blow through, made sure it's frickin' spraying properly, and it is. But it's fucking sleeve. I pulled the bastard out again. So obviously didn't tighten it up. I tightened enough the other fucking day. Pain in the fucking ass, those things. I wish they had decent frickin' clips. They only got these stupid things here. I wish they had at least the nut driver one, so you could actually get in there and frickin' tighten the bastard up properly. So I'll leave that tomorrow now. I'm pissed off. They're a pain in the butt because, you know, with the Phillips, if they were half decent, it wouldn't be quite so bad. But even because you can see where I've tried to tighten it up a few times to make sure it's tight, and I've started pulling the frickin' stupid Phillips fucking thing out of there, trying to tighten it up. But anyway, so the gun's had a good blowout and run a bit of frickin' bit of PG general purpose thinners through it. I actually screwed the pressure up to about 50 instead of just normal gun pressure, which I'd normally spray it, which is about 30-ish, thereabouts. I actually screwed it up to 50 so it was coming through a bit quicker. And back, what do I want to call it, blocked it off the front with a rag so to purge it back through the system to hopefully knock any shit off, and did that and basically run it through until I run out of reducer in it. And I got everything else, I think, ready. They'll give these another just light rub back in the morning when they're not quite so green. These here I won't panic about priming because it's all underneath stuff. It's all got a half decent edge. Might give them another quick blow in places where it's been a bit thin still. Missed that freaking piece completely. But I'll turn these over before. But yeah, we'll just give these a reasonable coat with some black, the 2-pack black on the top of the edge, and it should be fine for underneath. That I probably should prime, but it should be okay, I think. If I give it a couple of good coats, it should be good enough. With the gloss, it'll be fairly shiny anyway. And if it's not quite so perfect, it'll flatten off a little bit, so it won't be so bad. But yeah, these are all pretty much ready to go with black and that piece and the other seat base piece. I'll lay them out on here, or I'll hang that back up in the morning. I might get some more wire and hang some of those other small pieces up. I just don't want too many pieces, then I can't freaking duck through the other side. But these aren't quite so critical. I can just flick them on there, let them dry for a coat. And when I'm doing these, I can just turn them over a little later and flick them on just at the end. I'll move that out of the way so I don't paint that fucking thing. But yeah, it's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, and we'll get all the stuff done. We'll get all the stuff done tomorrow, get it primed. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at the moment. Haven't freaking had much to show you again today, really. I'm not really doing big stuff. Maybe when I'm actually starting to assemble some shit, I'll film assembling the whole trans, or gearbox, whatever you want to call it. We call it gearbox over here, transmission, cog box, whatever you want to call it. So hopefully I'll get those pieces back and I'll do a decent video on that, putting it back together. I'm half tempted with the other channel that I've got that I've freaking never used. Well, I used it for a wee while doing some music reactions, and I've actually got fucking over 2,000 subs on it. But because it's music videos, it doesn't matter if I freaking, what do you want to call it? If I did monetize it, all the money would go back to them anyway. But what I'm thinking of is maybe having it as raw footage. So a lot of the footage I speed up Could be an hour's worth of working, or more sometimes in a section, like if I'm doing long stuff. It could be, close to an hour's worth of me working. I'm just wondering, for some of the videos that I do, maybe the working footage, I might just bang it together, if you know what I mean, and throw it up on that other channel and rename it and then monetize it. I'm half freaking tempted and just delete all those other videos off it. I didn't mind doing the reaction video, music reaction stuff, but yeah, if I had some time I would, but I don't really have time. So that's why I thought I might just use it for just raw footage, working footage, and just put it on there full length without speeding it up. So when I'm going through and waffling and talking about what I'm doing a bit more, because even though, because I'm filming half the time and I'm waffling, telling you what I'm doing, but sometimes I just don't go through and break it all down, if you know what I mean. I might stop in between pieces with the more critical stuff that I do want to put in there, but a lot of times I'm waffling all through it, and I just wonder if I should do that. Let me know if you're keen to maybe watch some of that, and I'll try and keep it to, I don't know, like half-hour segments or whatever. Just bang it up there, and if you want to watch it, you can watch it. I'll put it on the other channel. It's NZ Mopar Reacts at the moment, so I could change it to NZ Mopar Outlaw Kustoms Raw channel, I guess you would call it, where it's all the raw footage from workings. I won't put all the other talking stuff, what I normally do when I'm doing intros and stuff. I'll just make it raw working stuff when I'm just waffling and doing stuff, sanding, putting stuff together, because I've got quite a bit of that footage that I could start putting in there if people want to watch it, you know what I mean. But yeah, just let me know. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here and come back tomorrow and start throw some black around anyway, and maybe if there's that if the colours here for this stuff, I may do both. Do the colour first. Oh yeah, we'll see what happens here, because I have to clean the gun. So if I had that other fucking gun, if I hadn't lost that spring for the gun, which I've never found, which has got me completely baffled where the spring went for this thing. If I had this spring for that one, I would throw it in and just paint the other stuff through that, if you know what I mean. So I didn't have to frickin' clean the gun out. Well, it didn't have to be quite so fussy, you know what I mean? Because I don't want, well, actually probably wouldn't matter. Well, not that but if it did have the odd black speck and the yellow, it wouldn't matter. Or the creamy sort of colour, because it's going to be half covered anyway. Would probably blend in with the wood grain. So yeah, probably don't have to be quite so critical, as long as you get a decent wash out. Mix that paint and put it through. Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea, so it won't be critical. If I was doing the proper paint job, and it wasn't going to be wood grain or type of wood, I'd make sure I really stripped it down and clean it out, but I probably could just blow it out, give it a good rinse out, and flick it through. If there's the odd frickin' speck of black in it, it's not going to hurt it. But yeah, I might do that. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Righty, welcome back, guys. So where are we at today? So Saturday morning. Hopefully the weather's going to hold. Just trying to get a bit of sun in on these parts to paint them. I've got some primed and some just with etch on them. Stuff with etch on it, I'm not too worried about the finish being perfect, if you know what I mean. It'll still be good enough for where it needs to be on the vehicle. Like the stuff that's more, I guess, seen, that you're going to be looking at every day, like the windscreen frame and steering wheel and bits and pieces like that, and some of the stuff that I primed at that same time. Now I've given that all a light sand to give it a scuff up, ready for painting black today. And a lot of the little brake linkages and stuff like that. I thought, screw it, while I'm at it, I've just hung that too with the etch primer on and given it a light wee scuff, and that's all ready to, I'll just blow the black on at the same time, and it'll be slightly flatter, so it won't matter quite so much when it's underneath the vehicle. And most of the stuff underneath the vehicle is semi-gloss anyway, so it'll flatten off semi-gloss-ish, you know, it'll be slightly shiny, which won't be a bad thing. I've got the fan there for the motor, which goes through this thing. So a shaft that runs through there and a pulley that runs down to here with a belt on it, and the fan sits out here. Also, got the clutch and flywheel back, which is cool. That's all been gone through from top to bottom. I haven't talked to them yet, so I don't know exactly what all. I'll see the clutch has been relined and I've set it all up so it works. So that's cool. I was hoping the paint would be here for these freaking wood trim stuff, because I would like to get that first coat of stuff on. That was my plan today, was to paint this stuff black. And then on the other panel stands, lay all the other stuff out and rinse my gun out and clean it out and whatever, give it a quick swish out. And why because I was probably going to close the doors down and have the diesel heater on while it was nice and warm in here. Then I was going to set up all that stuff over on the other side and spray all that stuff, that tanny, browny colour, whatever it's going to be underneath, if you know what I mean. I was hoping to do that. I thought the paint might have been here, because he was meant to pick it up yesterday. Picked it obviously the clutch and flywheel up. I don't know if he's got it. I haven't seen him yet this morning. So yeah, I'm hoping he's got it. I'm really hoping he's got it, because the clutch and flywheel was sitting at the door on the outside, so for me to bring in. But yeah, I don't know whether he's got the paint or not. And surely he must have had that. I don't know. I'm hoping. It would be nice to be able to just, while the paint was fresh in the gun, and I can just give it a good rinse out, because it doesn't matter if it has a little bit of black specks in it or something like that. It'll just add to the wood grain, if you know what I mean. It doesn't need to be a perfect, if it, you know, like I don't have to sit there and really clean out the gun for a colour change on a car, because it's an undertone. And if it did have a little bit of black specking in it or something like that, if it happens to come through, it's not super critical, if you know what I mean, and it'll only add to the effect, because I can pull the wood grain around if there does happen to be a bit of a splatter in it or something like that. It'll just tie in, if you know what I mean. Because that shit does happen, but when I go from black to a different colour. But so yeah, I'm hoping that fucking paint's here. He might have it in a vehicle still, if you know what I mean. But I'm hoping it's still here. But it feels like I'm going to have to close these doors down, because it's starting to cloud over. And get the heater on. I was just hoping that the sun shining and the doors might have been enough to get a bit of heat into that steel, those bits. So yeah, it's kind of where I'm at. Righty, so this is all painted, and like I said, I was going to do the other stuff if the paint turned up. I only just turned up before, after I shut the camera off. Yeah, and he said he went to pick it up yesterday and they wouldn't fucking mix it until he painted it. So we paid for it. So, yeah, now we're going to wait till Monday. You know, it would have been perfect to sit here over the weekend and just let it cure, and then I could have carried on with the next step. But I'll get it Monday and spray it Monday, I guess. So this is all sitting here ready to go. All looks good. Like a lot of these small pieces sort of only just really got one and a quick blow over. This has got a couple on it around the side, mainly just one on underneath, but I got made sure it had pretty good coverage. I sort of, when I say one, it was like two quick wet coats sort of in there. And when I packed it up, I gave it another quick blow, around before I set it permanently that way. This has probably had 3. That's probably had 3. This is, I think, it's probably had a 4-ish. And that's probably had 3. The rest of it sort of just had 1 and then another go over, if you know what I mean, just to catch any blanks. I think most of the stuff, it's sort of, that's anything where it's had the primer on it, it's shiny. Anything else that hasn't had much primer on it, it's sort of dulled off a bit, which is quite good. I was half tempted to repaint that shaft, but I'm bound to have some other little pieces that I need to paint at some point, because I would like to paint that. I'm not worried about that piece, but I would like to paint the thing shaft, and I completely forgot about it until I was walking past it and I was painting, when I was just in between the coats, or the last coat. I thought, shit, I could give it a quick wee scuff with some 600 and just blow another coat over top of it, but I probably didn't really quite have enough paint mixed either. So I'm going to leave this for the meantime. Yes, I'm going to leave this in the meantime, and I'm going to come back later on and de-hang it all. Once it's been sitting here for, probably hanging here for 3 or 4 hours, I guess, a little bit longer. See how we get on. But at least take some of the heavier stuff up there, just in case the wire decides wants to unravel itself. It is only just light gauge welding wire. I did double it up on the heavier stuff. But, yeah, should be right. But, like there's like that's got heavier wire. And that's got heavier wire, because there would no way that would handle freaking hanging up there on a bit of welding wire. But yeah, so that's the plan. I was going to do the initial coat on those too, but we can't do that, so that's all right. We'll just have to do it another day. Yeah, and it's good to have that clutch and everything flywheel back here. So if I can get that bush net and then putting the output shaft back, hopefully Monday or Tuesday or early in the week anyway, we'll throw that gearbox back together, and then we can put the flywheel on the motor, and we can probably shift the motor out of there and possibly just hang it and give that a decent clean down and work out what I need to do to give that a bit of a spruce up, and we'll pop the head off at the same time before we drop it in here. And also, yeah, because I'm sort of at the point where I kind of need to undo the bolts and get that ready to buff and get rid of that plastic and shit out of the road. And so yeah, we're really close to doing all that work in between doing the wood graining and getting this motor and gearbox back together. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to start buffing this probably, if not next week, it'll be the week after. Just depending on what we do. But yeah, this will be definitely getting buffed in the next 2 or 3 videos, I guess. Just depends on what we need to do. I'm going to try and do quite a decent video on doing the wood graining. I'm almost tempted to do film it at the same time, but do it as a separate video and just put splashes of it in the other videos, if you know what I mean. I might do a separate video on that. We'll see. Right, anyway, we'll carry on. How you going, guys? So welcome back again to NZ Outlaw Kustoms. I think I'm not, just won't quite start the video, but anyway, at the moment I'm wet sanding, but you'll see that after this anyway. I'm sort of midway through the second round. But, yeah, so that's what I'm doing today, just wet sanding that, trying to get close to before being buffed for the body anyway, so I can start piecing some stuff together. But I went and had a look at that 24 Dodge that I've been talking about a few times recently. Had a look at that at the weekend. He's keen to get it done. It's done supposedly 26,000 miles since new. They were the second owners of it. The family bought it in the early 60s. So was made in 24. So the car was about 30 odd years old when that family bought it. Not as an everyday car, but they bought it then. And it was just used very, I don't know, it might have had, say, might have had barely 20,000 miles on it, I'd say, when they bought it. It's got 26 something on it now. But it's very shabby, but mechanically it's meant to be very, very good. We turned it over by hand. It hasn't been running for 10 years, like I've mentioned in the earlier videos. But we turned it over by hand with a crank handle. It's got plenty of compression. You can hear everything sort of working. You can hear it working like it doesn't. Like you can't turn it over because it's got stuck valves and it's got no compression. It's definitely got good compression. You got to really pull it over. Like you could have, if you could have quite easily probably crank start if you threw some fuel down it and made sure the electrical was right. But yeah, so he's going to try and get it started over the next 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm trying to get this thing, if I can get the motor and the gearbox back in it, not this week but probably next at some point, and slowly start putting fenders and bits and pieces back on it and actually start turning it back into a car instead of just this be sitting here. Yeah, it's probably going to be here in the next maybe 3 to 4 weeks possibly, and then I'll start working on it a little bit as I'm trying to get this together, and we're working on the last little bits and pieces, and then I'll start working on that. So yeah, it's all I'm going to be doing. I'm not going to be doing the mechanicals unless it desperately needs it, which will be an overcost for him. It'll be extra. On what we've worked out a rough deal. So basically all I'm going to do is do the paint and the cosmetics on the outside of the body minus the upholstery. I'm not going to be doing the upholstery, I'm not going to be organising the upholstery. I'm just doing basically the paint work and bits and pieces like that. We're not doing any nickel or chrome or anything like that. We're just going to clean up what's there. The grill shell's already been painted silver at some point, so we'll just paint that, or maybe looking to get it powder coated, but we'll just probably paint it shiny silver again, unless he really wants to fork out and get it nickeled or something like that. But it's going to be like that deep dark royal navy blue and black, so it'll be just like, way darker colour than this, more like that sort of colour. So yeah, that's the plan for that, and I'll be having a 65 Impala in here every now and again, maybe for a week or a few days doing a bit of work on it. It'll go away and then maybe come back at some other point. So I'm going to help my mate get that further on. It needs a bit of work. It's been mainly stripped back to bare metal, but it's going to go to and sandblasters. Is going to have all the firewall done, and whatever else hasn't been, that he hasn't stripped back by hand, if you know what I mean. A lot of it's been stripped back by hand, but it's just, it needs a go over, a gentle go over in a lot of places. Yeah, and the firewall done and a few other nooks and crannies, if you know what I mean. They're bloody awkward to do by hand. So yeah, so I'll be doing a bit of that as well, and possibly we may start on this holding ute too. That's going to be done, but that'll be after that's out of here. I'm not going to be doing anything on that holding ute until that's done. So yeah, because obviously I still want to go to the States, but I know I'm going to be coming back, and I'm not quite sure. Like, this will be, the first trip will be for a few months, and then come back and I'll carry on doing some work here, and then yeah, and then obviously we'll work out, hopefully by that stage we might know a bit more to how to get me there permanent with what we're working on. So yeah, I might be back here for another 6 months or whatever, or over there winter sort of type thing, and I can carry on with some more stuff because it'll be summertime. So yeah, that's kind of the plan. So I'll probably be missing for the worst of the winter, if you know what I mean, here. But that's kind of the plan at this stage. But I'm going to carry on with this. Oh, also, I broke over 1,000 subs there on Saturday. I went over, then back, then over again, and just today it's dropped back to 999. So I think I went to 1,001 Saturday. Yeah, dropped back overnight to 998. Then I went to 1,000 again, and I actually got the congratulations thing from YouTube. Then it dropped back to 999 today. I think it's still at 999 now. So yeah, it's kind of funny, but I know it's definitely going over, like we're climbing all the time. So, but if you are one of these people that are, I don't know whether that's somebody new that's coming in and out in the last few days, or whether it's somebody that's been around for a while and they haven't watched me for a while and they've unsubscribed, which is, you know, that happens. I've done that before. You know, so you think, geez, I haven't watched that channel for frickin' ages. You know, and I'm watching so many other things here. I might drop that off my list, sort of type thing. You know, and I'll delete it. But yeah, if you are dropping away, even if you've watched it, a couple of videos, and you think, no, it's not really me, let me know. Just tell me some of the things you don't like about it, why you're not going to carry on watching. A little bit of negative feedback, I don't mind if it's, as long as it's not abusive. But if you come in and you find that you don't like something or whatever, or just let me know. I can use that as feedback and maybe a way to change what I'm doing, to maybe, I don't know, keep people here. You know, I know not everybody's going to like everything. I know there's channels I like that Arco doesn't like, and vice versa, you know what I mean? We all got slightly different tastes. We all watch some channels more than others, you know, and you'll probably get 5 years down the track and you'll be watching a completely different group of people because you would have found something else that really grabs your interest, you know, and the channels that you used to watch a lot of, you'll only watch bits and pieces of, you know. I'm a bit like that with Rick from Old Time Garage in Canada. Now, I used to watch him religiously. Now I might watch him 2 or 3 times a month, just catch up on a couple of videos, newer videos at the time. You know, it's just the way it goes, you know. There's always something new that you find that really grabs your interest, and you gravitate towards that for a while, and then you might come back again. So, but yeah, let me know. If you are disappearing, you are going to unsubscribe, and you've watched this, yeah, let me know. Anyway, I'm going to carry on sanding. Get this a bit further. So at the moment I'm sanding with 800. I did chop back to 600 for a couple of spots that were a little bit rougher, just for, you know, maybe a quick couple of rub outs in that door, and I've chopped back to 800 just to try and get rid of 99, try to get rid of that sort of 90% of the orange peel, and then hopefully I'll get rid of the rest of it as I'm going through the 1500 and 2000 and 3000. I won't get to 3000 today, but that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get to close, so basically when I lift this body up and pull the plastic out and put the rubber stripping in, and then the fenders on and the things in it, then it's, at that point it's buffed. So that'll be happening in the, I don't know, I'm probably going to have to buff it in the next week or two. Once the motors and everything like that, then I might buff it. Because the motor and the gearbox isn't going to affect me buffing it, except for maybe the firewall. I might just give that a, to be honest, I don't know if I'm going to do the firewall. I might do. I might give it a quick rub back. But yeah, I might just leave it alone. It's not, I know it's not dead shiny, but I might just leave it alone. Because by the time you get everything else in there, it's not going to matter quite so much. So yeah, I might just leave that alone. It's not too bad, and it's a bit orange peely, but it's not that bad. So might just leave that alone. But yeah, we'll get the rest of it all back. It's like really nice. But anyway, I'm going to carry on. Righty, we'll give that a bit of a dry off, and we'll just see where we're at with the initial sand back again. But obviously it wasn't very well. I only sort of just started the last time. It was very patchy, hadn't been flattened right out, but we'll give it a wipe down, see whether we've got everything, and it looks reasonable. And then we'll jump to the next stage if we need to, or dress the panels that need a bit more work. So that's what we'll do now. Why is it so dark? Or is it just the light flickering? Righty, so I'm reasonably happy with my progress, but I've got no fresh sheets of 800 left, so I think I need to pull it back a little bit further. Let's get a wee bit more orange peel out of it before I go to 1500. I was just about tempted to, but there's a few spots where it doesn't feel as nice as the rest of it. So I think I might just get a fresh sheet of 800 on the way home for lunch, since the hardware store's just down the road. I'll just grab a sheet of Norton and just give it one more go around, I think, and then we'll switch to 1500 after that. So hopefully I can get to 2000 today, but we'll see. I'm just going slow, making sure that I'm not having any issues. I've got one little white spot on one door that must have had a bit of shit in it or something like that, and it's been poking above it. Why it's like that, I don't really know, unless I've nicked it or something. I'm not 100% sure whether it was a bit of shit in the primer sticking above it, but I wet sanded it down before I painted it, so maybe I've bumped it and just got a little nick in it or something like that. So I have to have a slightly bigger look at it, like it's just a speck. So I may just have to, if it is just a nick, I might just get a little bit of blue paint on a brush and just dab it in there and let it dry, and then when we're rubbing it back it'll disappear and blend out. But yeah, it's the only little minor issue I've struck. Yeah, I'm still not through the orange peel, so I haven't gone that far, if you know what I mean. So yeah, but yeah, I think because I thought I had some fresh 800 here this morning, but I couldn't find it, so I just found the best bit. And so I started with some 600 and went round and took the worst of the rough off, where it was quite textured, because when we had all those frickin' paint gun issues. And then I started going around it with 800, and I think if I get a fresh sheet of 800, I think it'll pull it up nicely, and then we can go to 1500. If I can just do another lap or whatever round, and see if I can just get it down a bit further before I go to 1500. So yeah, I'll do that. Shortly I'll shoot Wayne, grab a sheet on the way home, and do that. So yeah, but apart from that, I'm pretty happy with how it's coming up. Like I said, it's never going to be a show car, and I think by the time I've got to 3000 and then buff it, it should look pretty freaking smart, and then we just got to do the rest of it. So yeah, I might grab a couple of sheets. I might grab a sheet of 600 and a couple of sheets of 800, because by the time I do those fenders and bits and pieces, I would have gone through a bit. But yeah, I don't really want to go back to 600, but just with a couple of spots where I was having those issues and it's a bit coarse, a bit textury, just to help knock that down first, and then switch to 800. I'm being pretty careful up to the edges. I'm not going really aggressive over the edges or anything like that. I'm just doing all the flat, and try and just come up to the edges without really going over them, and trying to be as careful as possible doing that sort of side of it. So I think we'll be right, and hopefully when we buff it, it'll be pretty nice. Anyway, we'll carry on. Righty guys, so I've just finished going round the second time with 1200. 1200, 1500. I've just been around it twice with 1500 now, after I went around it numerous times with 800, just trying to get the orange peel down to a reasonable level all the way around, because it was bad in places. So yeah, and it's starting to look quite good. And the bottom of the wheel arch there, where it actually kicks down there like that, I've rubbed through the paint there, unfortunately. But it's one of those spots I'll just better, I'll probably even better brush paint a little bit on there, and then just rub the top off it. Or I might even better, I don't know, what I'll probably do is either mask out around that and just puff a little bit of blue on it, and then just give it a gentle rub to blend it in if I have to, or just touch up with a little bit of the thing, because the welting and all that stuff will go around there and it'll actually hide most of it, or 99% of it, if you know what I mean. You might catch the little edge, but there'll be a little bit of blue in there, and you probably won't notice. So I might have to do that before I do the final polish, if you know what I mean, and just keep away from that corner a little bit. If I just either puff a little bit of blue in there and just mask it out and just feather a little bit in, I'll just mix up a small amount in the bottom of a cup, just splash a little bit of paint and hardener in it, and just put a wee splash of thinners in it, just enough to be in the bottom of the cup, and I'll just puff it in there if I have to, at 2000 or something like that, or I might even, actually I might leave it till tomorrow. Let this dry off, wipe it down, mask the chassis off, mask in around the wheel arch, and just puff just a little bit in there. That's where a touch-up gun or something would be nice, but if I just flick a little bit on there a couple of times and then just wet sand it out, nobody will notice, just right in there. But yeah, but I haven't gone through anywhere else, so that's cool. I just happened to be on that one edge, and it's in a place where it's not going to be really noticeable at all. So it's really, really close to the edge, so it's no biggie. I'd probably better off just a wee bit of brush painter, to be honest. Just put a dab in the frickin', just dab a brush in the frickin' paint can and just touch it up, and then just rub it off, rub it down a little bit, and just blend it out. And then while the welting goes around in there and everything else is on there, you're not going to notice it. But yeah, it's been a lot of work sanding that. So yeah, I'll go around it tomorrow, I think, with 2000. Go around it at least twice tomorrow with 2000, and then see where I'm at, and then if I have to, I might go back a step, or maybe the odd panel if I want to get a bit more orange peel off it. I'll see what it looks like, because it's still orange peely, but I'm getting it down, and so it's flatter and flatter and flatter. It doesn't need to be dead perfect, but I think by the time you knock it back with the 3000 and then buff it and polish it, what orange peel's left isn't going to be much. And I'm not too worried about it, to be honest. It will look really good anyway. But yeah, that's a lot of work. But anyway, I'll try and work out what I do. I might wipe that down and just touch a little bit of paint on there now. Just give it a good wipe down the list, then it'll be dry in the morning, and yeah, then when I wipe over it a couple of times with some 2000 or something like that, it'll half blend in, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I think that'll do, because it's only a couple of little tiny spots I'll show you. So it's right here on this edge, so by the time the welting and everything goes around there, so if I just touch a little bit of blue on there with a brush, nobody's going to know. But you know, that's the sort of shit that happens, you know. But I haven't gone through anywhere else. I'm pretty sure I haven't. And the only other funny little spot that kind of annoys me, but it's so small at the moment, is that it's like being a white speck of something either in there or I can't imagine it, the primer being sticking up. But yeah, it hasn't got any bigger, so we'll just keep going, and I'll have a decent look at it in the morning when the ground's probably dried out a little bit too, and just see if it is an mark or a chip or a scratch or something, I'll just dab a little bit of that blue on it, the same. Dab a little bit of blue on it, and then it'll blend out, if you know what I mean. But yeah, old girl's not looking too bad. When it's wet, it actually looks really good. Looks nice and flat. Well, nice and, you know, it looks good and flat and doesn't look too ripply or anything. Probably the worst bit's probably just that bottom part of that piece, but it was pretty knocked around in it. It's pretty good. Anyway. So yeah, that'll do. I'll give this a bit of a wipe down in this corner, let it dry for a little bit, and then I'll touch a little bit of blue on there out of the can with the brush. I think that'll do for today. I've had enough. I'm pretty buggered, to be honest. Right, morning guys. So welcome back again. So, as you know, we went around it yesterday. Got to 1500. Went around it twice. I've dabbed a bit of paint in that corner. I'm going to flick a little bit more on it in a few minutes. I'm just giving that a little bit of time to cure off a bit. But yeah, I'm going to keep away from that corner for a wee while. But I'll go back around it with 2000, and then I'm going to go and I'll probably go around it twice with 2000 and see how we get on. And then I'm going to grab the old man's buffer, and we'll work towards getting it maybe buffed out by the end of the day. I'll see how we get on. We'll see how we get on. I'm not 100% sure, but I'd like to maybe try and buff it today. Right, so this is I just wet sanded this to the side with a 2000 for the first time, and I'll just rinse it off with a bit of clean water, so you can kind of see where I'm at the moment. Just trying to see if I can get the shine on there for you. So if it's it's going to be better than that, you know, by the time it's buffed, you know, because you're not going to get all the rippling of the water. But it looks anything like that, I'm going to be pretty happy. So that's cool, awesome. So by the time you go to 3000, it'll be a little bit cleaner and flatter again. So I'm going to go around twice with the 2000, I think. But I've come to this corner. So I've stopped there before I get water down and where that paint is, just to let that cure off. So I'll go back another way and I'll come back to meet that. And then I'll come back and I'll avoid that for a minute, just that corner, like just this section. And then I'll give it a quick rub later on, and that's had a wee bit of time to cure. Actually, I'll just dab another wee bit more paint on there. Righty guys, so I've just finished rubbing it back with the 3000 a couple of times. I've given it a rough wipe down and blow down. It's just dried off. But you can actually see on the right angle, it's actually got a shine to it. So it's not going to take a lot to bring that luster back up really quick now. After doing it with those 3000 pads, these things. I did it by hand. I did it with a wee block. I was going to do it in the DA at a real slow speed with water, but I just did it with water by hand. When we buff it up, if I'm not 100% happy, we may jump back a couple of steps, bring it back up to 3000, and then go again. But I think it's going to be pretty freaking sweet once I give it a buff. So I'm pretty happy. I'm just going to give it another bit of clean down and whatever, just get rid of the last residue. I haven't really touched back in here. This is pretty dry now, but I'll just leave it for a bit longer. When we get near the end, I'll give that a wee rub with some 3000 or 2000, 3000, just in that corner, just gently, and then just just buff it up by hand. I'll run the buff near it, and then just do it by hand, because it's going to be awkward down in here. But yeah, again, you can see that luster coming. You can see that luster coming. It's not dead perfect across the back. It's a wee bit ripply, but it's pretty good, because it was. I would have actually liked to have, if the woodwork hadn't been in the back, I would actually given it a lot better body work in there by hand with the hammer and dolly. But it was very, very awkward, and if I had a planishing hammer, I would have definitely got that a lot better. But it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. So again, down the side, you can see that luster trying to shine through. And I did I just gently rubbed over the black with the 3000. Just gave it, 3 or 4 good go. Well, I sort of went around the black just a couple of times as I was going around the rest of it. And I just gave it a 3 or 4 good rubs as I went, and just to knock any shit off the top, basically, just clean it off, and then we can give it a gentle go by hand, or once we've sort of done the rest of it and we just want it, if we're lacking in the edges or something like that, we can just go over the rest of it by hand. So yeah, we'll just give it a gentle clean down, and I'm going to go get Dad's buff, and I think we'll start doing that, and then I can get rid of all this fucking plastic and crap and shit out of the road. We'll take the bottom of the vehicle out tomorrow or something like that. See how we get on with buffing up. It might take me the rest of the day to get it where I want it and happy with it. Then we can get that crap out of there. We'll slip the rubber in, get the bolts semi-tight, because we all have to put the running boards and everything on, but they'll have to go on later on. But we'll get it to the point where the rubber's in there, all the plastic's out of the frickin' road, and we're ready to start putting the motor in. So I'll touch all the little bits up in the frame, want to mask it off, and we'll just give it the frame a clean down, and probably just give it a quick knock back with a bit of 800 where it's needed, and we'll just puff some black in there, that semi-gloss. Alrighty, so just went and grabbed Dad's buffer. I actually thought he had a completely different wheel to this, but I think I'm getting confused with some of the gear that I was using in Australia when I was playing around with doing stuff. I thought I had one of the slightly smaller diameter and ones with like the black pad or the orange pad on it. But this will do. We'll just go slow. Turn the speed way down as variable speed. I'll find out what that slower speed is. I need to give this a bit of a clean up first. Give it a bit of a rub down and a wash down, and get whatever this crap is off it. Soften that up, so I'll do that in a minute. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And I've only really got sheets here. I actually need to get some bloody microfiber cloths, but Dad had an old towel there, so I grabbed that just to help just clean the crap off afterwards, if you know what I mean. Once I've buffed it and go over and just give it a light rub by hand. I'll get some microfiber cloths, and obviously we'll give it a hand polish and wax and everything afterwards as well. But yeah, at this point we'll hit it with that and see how we come up. But as you can see the bloody shine on things from here without even buffing it up, just with the 3000. So it's pretty clean and sorted, I think. So I'll get this cleaned up, and we'll just start somewhere gently, and we'll just see how we get on, and we'll just work on one piece, and I probably will tape up some of these edges too, just so I don't rub up against them and burn them off. So I'll probably do that too, but we'll just have a wee gentle work with it, just without going near anywhere, and we'll just see what it pulls a small area up like first with that pad, just in case it happens to be a little bit aggressive or something like that. I'm not really sure, but it should be fine. We'll just go slow, mist plenty of water on there, and see how we get on. Righty, so I only just really started. So I've done the top of the cowl. I've done a lot of that by hand, but I did gently rub over that with that buffer, really gently. I don't know, that minimum speed on that's about 1500 revs. I think it'd be nice if it was a little bit slower, about half that. And I wish I had one of the smaller pads, less, bigger diameter. But for the first, few rubs over with that, stop and then wet it down again, and little bit more polished and give it another rub over. That's had 2. This has sort of had 1 go, if you know what I mean. Rub it over, wet it down, rub it over, and then I've done that one twice, like that with fresh polish, or cutter, whatever you want to call it, and that's just been done once. And then obviously giving a quick wipe down with the rag. That's the one I'm wiping the residue off, and that's the one I'm sort of giving it a light, just hand buff, if you know what I mean, just to clean the crap off and give it a bit of a shine. So far that's not too bad. It's still very gently orange peely, which was just kind of what I wanted. I didn't want it that dead flat show car finish because it's, as I said, it's never going to be one. But I want it to be really, really nice. So yeah, I just don't think it's worth going to that next level, if you know what I mean. But it's going to be really nice. And like, this is just the first go through, you know. Yeah, we'll go through it again with that buff. We'll go around once, see how we're sitting, have another assessment, because there's like areas where it hasn't been buffed enough yet, you know, where it's still a little bit flat, so we've got to go over it again. But, you know, we may do the next step by hand, if you know what I mean. We might go over it completely by hand. Again, you know, after this, you know, we'll see how we sit. But I wouldn't want some microfiber cloths either. But I think I've got some at home, but I'd have to hunt them down. But yeah, that's not too bad so far for the first couple of panels. It shined up pretty quick. Like, I hardly had to work it really to bring that laster up. Like, we've only just started, so I'm pretty happy with that. And by the time we give it a couple of buffs, it'll tell you any orange peel on it will flatten out a little bit too, so a little bit more. That's cool. Yeah, I just wish it was just a touch slower. It's not spinning that fast, but with that big pad, if it was one of those slightly smaller pads that was a little bit taller, I think it would be. I'm just a bit worried about the speed out here catching, you know, some of these edges. I haven't taken them off. It's been gently going through, so I haven't had any issues yet. So, and I've done the bulk of that cowl by sort of hand, except for just a quick rub over. So I'm not spending a long time on it anywhere. So, but yeah, it'd be just nice if that was a little bit smaller diameter. And I think the pads, the different colour pads are different, like a different grade of pad. Like, some of them are finer, so they might polish slower, if you know what I mean. Like, I think that's how they work. I don't really know, if you know what I mean, but I know that I've seen guys change, obviously, through the different pads to do different steps, and also different compounds to do different steps. So, but this is kind of where we're at, so I'm pretty happy with it so far. It's coming up nice, you know, and another guy over it should be pretty sharp, so I'm pretty happy. All right, we'll keep carrying on. I think it's almost lunchtime, so I might just see if I can get the initial on that piece in the door, and we'll probably go over lunch.